All right, here's an example of a reading achievement test. This is for the 3A level. Normally I will put a lot of this information in, like the month, day, and year, and the times. I'll have the students write their names in. If it's not easy to read, then I will write it to the side. And we do prefer first and last names. If they can't write it in, then we go ahead and do that, so that it's really clear for our certificates. Grade and age, they usually know. Date, start time, and end time. We won't actually put the start time in until we actually start the test. And then you'll see gradings that we're going to put in afterwards, the score and the time that we'll do later. And then this is help scoring to identify the group that they will be in. So when we give an assessment test of any kind, I want you to go ahead and put your initials down in this corner here. I wish there was a box there for that. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. So that if we have any questions later, we can say, hey, can we ask you a question about this one? So there's a couple things that we've been trying to start for our testing. And so I'm going to give you some tips to kind of help. So this is a big one for us. We may want to just preview the test with the students and let them know, hey, it's just like their worksheet. So, and we're going to read the instructions up here, read the words, and then try to say the sentence. So if they can't read the word, then we're going to go ahead and mark it wrong. And then the sentences as well. So I usually just preview for them, similar to our worksheets. Obviously, we're not ripping these apart, but just let them know, see, it looks like your worksheets, and then I'll go ahead and put the start time in for them. But if you need, just remember that there are instructions on the top of each page. Also, not for this one because I think it's a full test all the way through, but you'll see sometimes on some tests, at a certain page, they'll say, go ahead and put your ending time on. And the rest of the time is not used for that. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of do this upside down so I can show you. But we'll have the students put their name, grade, and age if they know it. I usually put the month, day, and year before they start. And then once I preview the pages with them, I'll go ahead and put that start time in, and then we'll go ahead and begin. Hopefully you don't have another student this time because you really need to focus on the test with these students. All right, so at the very beginning, I'll say go ahead and read the words and then try the sentences. And so I'll ask for this one, bread. If they can't say that word, there's a picture to go with it. Normally they will because they've done the worksheets, and I'll have them check those boxes. If I see that they have gotten it wrong, I will go ahead and, just mark it wrong and just ask them, great job, keep checking. I'm not going to dwell on this. If they ask, did I get that wrong, whatever, I could correct them, but we're not helping them through the test. So I'm going to still mark it wrong and just say, oh, Toad, good job, check that box. And then for the sentences on this side, as they're trying to read these, I may pencil them or pen them along and kind of try to keep them paced. Normally if they don't get a certain word, then I'm going to just ask for an X at the top, and then I'll correct them. So I'll say spread, have them repeat it, spread, and then sometimes they'll remember from their worksheets, or they'll be able to figure out the rest and then have them check the box. So as I go through all of these, I'll just mark an X where they weren't unable to read the word. So we can see at the top here it says 4 points each. So if there's just one word, I'll probably take off 1 point for each of those. But it's nice to look through and see where they had challenges. Same for this one. This one I'll often refer them to, just say fill in the missing letters, go ahead and tell me what that is, and point to the picture this time. So they say leaf, good. So what's the sound? Have them say it, L, and then what's that sound that's missing, and then what's the sound? So they're doing all the work. I'm not helping them through like we may in a worksheet, because we really want to know if they are able to do this on their own. So I'll say, what is that? Leaf, good. What's the sound? L. And what's after that? What are you missing? Why don't you look in there and see if you can figure out which one. This page is the hardest for the 3A students, but we're really wanting them to get that middle sound in. And again, if they get one wrong, which typically fruit is wrong, then I'll just mark it with a line, good job, fruit, and then just have them check the boxes. And then same with those. And the next 2 pages are the same. And then on this page, I go ahead and read that, sound out each small word, and then combine the words into one long word and fill in the letters. So have them say mail, box, mailbox, write it out, check the box. Same for all of these. On this one, I'll have them read at the very top. Again, we can read at the top if we need clarification ourselves. Read the words in the shaded box and then fill in the letters and say the sentences. So have them read these 2 words, and then I have them choose which word and then read the full sentences to me. Again, I will put an X on the top if there's a word that they do not know. And then I can help, I can let them know afterwards, but we do want to mark it wrong. Or if the full thing's wrong, typically they don't get these 2 pages wrong, but if it is wrong, I'll go ahead and mark it right away, because often we'll forget by the end. This is the sound card check. This is really important. As students flips through the sound cards, sometimes they have cards, but we actually don't do the cards, we do it right on here. So we're looking for the sounds correctly. So we'll go ahead and, do you know these sounds on this one? I will mark the boxes. So typically these are harder for them. So if they don't get this one, then I usually put a box around it and say A. Okay, good. A, E. I'll say, can you read that word for me? And then make this sound, read this word for me. And so what's that sound? And if they cannot get it, then I will usually mark it like this. This indicates that they got it correctly. Is the lines. So, like I say, often some of these are harder for kids. So as they say it, I'll say, go ahead and read that word for me. I don't help them. I don't read the book, read that for them. If they cannot get it, then they'll just mark it. So it's easy for us to see quickly which ones they are not getting quickly. Okay, so then we'll put the ending time in. I have my initials there, and then they're done. So for grading afterwards, if you have time, so we'll go again. There's 1 point each for these. So I'm going to say 1, 2, and then 4 points for here. So I'm going to take 1 point off here, 1 point off here. So I'll add that total up. 1 point for each of these, and 4 points for this one as well. And then I'll get a grand total. So I'll go ahead and put that grand total in. That one is going to go in the first box. And so we'll do that all the way through, add up the score. Figure out how long it took them to do, and then based on that score, just the initial score, then we're going to tell us what group they are in, and then we'll put that number there. That's really as far as you need to go for even just the initial testing. And if you mark all of those things, like I just indicated, completely wrong, or go ahead and put an X above the word that they don't get, then we can score those later. If you have the time to grade it and record it, that's fine. On the very, very back page, it is helpful. If we have the time, sometimes it is in the inside page and sometimes it's on the back side. But it's that final page on the right, or it's the back page. And it does easily come off, but we won't have you do that right now. But if you could put their first and last name up here, just that alone would be helpful, and their time used and their score. And then we can fill out the rest, or if you want to fill in these numbers. And then Donna or I or Elaine will make a nice little note, or if you have something to include, nice job, make sure to double check your work, or, any notation that you feel like would be helpful for them. And then the parents will receive this, and we'll end up putting this back into the record, the folder. So we do indicate the grading scores on the very back of the record book. So we'll say, assessment test, and we'll do this in black pen because the red's really hard to see on the red book. The test level is 3A, their grade level, today's date, the time. They did this much time out of the time expected, the score out of the score expected, and then that group number that we talked about. And any remarks here, nice job, pass, probably repeat, anything that you feel like needs to go there. Once that is done, just like our worksheets that are graded, we're going to put an R at the very top. So we know that it was recorded in the record book.